What is going on, everybody? How you doing? Welcome to Collecting Profit with Anthony and Michael. How's everybody doing today? Anthony, how are you doing tonight, sir?
Man, I'm doing good. Thank you so much for having me again. I'm really excited for yet another one of these. Man, this show is just cooking on by. Man, I can't believe this is our 8th episode already.
I know it's freaking ridiculous that we've done this for 2 months.
Yeah,
I was like, what the heck? I was doing. I'm going. Wait. I'm like, holy smokes, that's pretty cool. Pretty cool.
yeah.
So,
I'm when you're having fun, I guess.
yeah. Hey, everything always good, having a good time and everything like that. So, we had the Super Bowl this past weekend and everything. Did you do anything? You have fun, or did you what did you think of the outcome and everything?
You know what? I picked the Chiefs right, but I completely picked the game wrong. Like, I originally picked the Bengals to win the Super Bowl, so like I really don't have a say in the Super Bowl, but I'm at least glad that my Mahomes cards are going up. Not that I'm that heavily invested. I have like an optic card of his, and it's like about all I have like for my PC, but I'm sure that it probably went up a little bit after he won the game.
Yeah, I wanted, I was happy with the outcome. I mean, not that I didn't want Philadelphia to lose.
What's up, Greg?
You know what I'm saying? Hey, Craig, how you doing? Not that I wanted, Philadelphia to lose. I didn't want that and everything. But I just wanted Mahomes. I wanted Mahomes to get the second one because I think if he would have lost, it would have been like, my gosh, how are you going to be considered great? You've gone to 3 and you've lost, 2. I mean, I hate to say it, and I'm not trying to compare the two, but it is like the LeBron thing.
Yeah.
Right? You get there so often and you don't win, and people are like, oh, you really must suck. You know what I mean? From that standpoint. And so I wanted him to win from that and from that thing. I did realize as I was going through my card generator, I do have this little, I have like a little patch Mahomes from Prestige.
Nice. Is that his second or third year?
This was 2019.
Okay, so that's his third year, I believe.
Third year.
Yeah.
I was thinking of going ahead and getting it, maybe sending it in, getting it graded, and we'll have Mike take a look at it and see what he thinks it'll get.
Nice.
But
you can't go wrong with Mahomes, like especially if he's like right now. Like if you think of, I saw something on Instagram the other day. I wish I would have saved this picture, but it was a side by side of him at age 27, which he is right now, and Tom Brady at age 27. And Mahomes is so far and away more impressive than Tom Brady was at this age. So that right there goes to show that if he can stay healthy and on this trajectory, like he might be like the only guy that has a legitimate chance of going anywhere near Tom Brady. Because the crazy thing, I was talking to Marty about this today. We were at the card shop and he was just like ripping up a storm. Like he had some crazy stuff today, but we were talking about that specifically and in regards to Mahomes and all that stuff.
Yeah, no, you're you're right, and I think it's going to be interesting as we go along. His deal, even though it is as big as it is, everybody, when you listen to some of the experts say that it is still a team friendly deal, so that they don't have to necessarily, tear the team apart. And then you look at the other thing. When you really sit down and think about it, they had what? 5 rookies on defense or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So those guys were on rookie contracts, so you don't have to pay them at least for another 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
So like you can get, because normally most of those guys get 4-year deals, right? So you have, you don't have to really do anything, right away with them, so so from that standpoint, it's not like you're having to worry too much. And I mean, obviously they got to keep Kelsey, from that standpoint. But I mean, I don't know. He definitely has that trajectory. Obviously, the league is a little more stacked. Not that it wasn't stacked when Brady was playing. I'm not trying to say that, but Brady, truthfully, more times than not, he really didn't have a hard path to the Super Bowl. When you think about it, right? When he was, because there really wasn't. I mean, there was Pittsburgh, but Baltimore was up and down. You know what I'm saying? Ben.
I'd say Pittsburgh was probably the main consistent force during the Brady era, and
Yeah, I
like
mean, because
honestly,
even
like
yeah,
Brady's dominated and owned the Steelers, which sucks. And sometimes, Jason, when they're not selling, absolutely.
yes, most definitely,
If I
most
get like
definitely.
a good little momentum rolling and cards start to move, then I'm like more motivated to do it more.
That's right. And Jason, thanks for stopping by. Craig again, thanks for stopping
Appreciate you
by.
being here.
Yeah, but and I think and he had Peyton, but Peyton wasn't one of those guys that never really. I don't know, like he never had a great defense and those types of things. So it's going to be interesting. I think the real interesting piece coming up is the three guys: Lamar,
Mm-hmm.
Joe Burrow, and Justin Herbert. What are they? Hey, Blaze, how you doing, buddy?
Oh, my guy, good to see you, brother.
thanks for stopping in. Appreciate it. You know what I'm saying? Because you figure, what are they going to do with their contracts? I think Lamar is going to play hardball. I think he's going to say, hey, look, you had your chance. I saw what Deshaun Watson get. Hey, I'm sorry that that the Cleveland Browns effed it up for everybody else, but this is what it's going to cost you.
Lamar needs to like up and leave the Ravens. That would make me very happy because I hate the fact that there are so many good quarterbacks in my division. It's awful.
True.
It is awful, man.
Yeah. And I think
I know how you felt having Brady in your division all those years now.
Oh,
it was bad enough to have him in my conference, but like,
I mean, we went from Marino to Brady. It was just,
yeah,
it was murder. And then we dealt with Jim Kelly, and now we deal with Josh Allen. And it's like, son of a freaking back. But I think the one interesting one to me out of all of them, well, actually, Burrow and Herbert are interesting to me because in the past, those teams don't like to pay anybody. You know what I mean? They don't like to say, yeah, listed 90 cards this week. It's so boring, but I'm just hoping they start rolling. Just started the starter store after 350 listings. Nice.
Good luck to you, man. Hopefully it goes
Yeah.
well. Keep me posted on how it goes. And if you get any cool LeBrons in there, let me know.
Yeah, I mean, Jason, I mean, the truth is, once you go ahead, you have the starter store and stuff like that. Look, it's going to take time. Once you get rolling, though, you'll see. Just be consistent, and it'll work. That's one thing that I found. I mean, I've been consistent over the last, week to 10 days. Of really making an effort to list, 15 to 20 cards every single day, and I've seen, not. I'm not talking about sitting here selling 100 cards, but I've seen 3 or 4, 2 or 3, something's been happening all the time and everything.
Yeah.
Hope Lamar leaves Baltimore too. Big Lamar fan, love his game and his demeanor, and yeah, he can leave the
Imagine
division.
if you can like love him publicly in Pittsburgh. You know what I mean? Because it's like I'm a big Joe Burrow fan, but I wouldn't dare wear that dude's jersey. Like it's bad enough I have a Cleveland team tattooed on my body in Pittsburgh. Like I would never get over like rocking a Joe Burrow jersey, and like Burrow's like literally one of my favorite non-Steelers in the league. Like I just think that dude is so clutch. But yeah, I mean, I would absolutely love for him to go to like any other team except for Baltimore or the Ravens or the Patriots.
Yeah. Well, boom, 2K since the first year.
Go,
That's
man.
awesome.
That's awesome.
I have not been that fortunate. But I think it's going to be interesting to see how much of the pocketbook the Bengals and the Chargers are going to offer to those two guys, because the truth is neither one of those two teams are big spenders. So it's going to be it's going to be, very interesting to see, how much are they going to do, and then, you know, when these quarterbacks look, do they want to be? I mean, let's face it. The truth is, like when you look at what you have right now, do they want to be, you know, Aaron Rodgers, right, and get
What's up, Dave?
all that, stuff, all that money, but then not be able to pay the other part that's going to actually help you? Because you think about here's the weird thing, and who was it? I think somebody said it. I can't remember. I don't know if it was on ESPN or if it was on the game. No, I'm sorry. I think it was on ESPN after the game. They said, what's amazing about the quarterback position is that it gets all the glory, yet it is the most dependent position in sports. Because no matter how dang good you are, if you don't have those other 10 guys, it don't matter. You know? So it's going to be interesting. Oh, we have a question here. eBay
Dave
versus
has
Facebook card groups. I seem to be get just the 99-cent anti-starting price on cards that should be selling for $4 to $5. So
is
you're
that on
saying,
eBay or is that on the Facebook group?
pardon me?
Does it specify there if he's getting the 99 cents on Facebook or if that's on eBay?
Well, here's the first thing. He says he's getting the 99-cent NT starting price. So that makes me believe he's doing auctions. And number one, I would not do an auction
Oh, on
on
eBay.
a
Okay, cool.
on a where?
Yeah, he just said on eBay. Cool.
Yeah. So I would not do an auction on eBay for sports cards. Because because auctions, remember, auctions only work if two people want what you have.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times, depending on what type of card you're doing. So if you're doing, I don't know, pick player A, and you're not doing, let's say, a high end, you're not doing a patch auto, right? Let's say you're just doing, look, take Trevor Lawrence,
Mm-hmm.
Prism rookie, or that's not, base rookie, nothing that's super duper special or anything like that. You put it out to 99. If there's a whole bunch of other ones out there listed, you may not get the people fighting for it, because a lot of people may go, you know what, I don't want to wait
What's up,
5
Kenny?
days, 9 days, 10 days, however long you run your auction for, when you could, when I could buy that card for $1.50, let's say,
Mm-hmm.
and I have it in 2 or 3 days. So that's the one thing you got to be careful about with auctions, David, from that standpoint.
One thing I noticed too, a lot of the stuff I was working with auction wise, Dave, was right in that $1 to $5 range. I mean, some like maybe even up to 10. And I was like going with the idea that, hey, whenever I buy cards, typically I'll look to see what the guy has and maybe get multi-quantity sales off of that. Not understanding the fact that I'm like looking at like LeBron slabs and like stuff like that, like not like the little $1 cards and stuff like that. I was finding that on most of like my $1 to $5 cards, it would either end with like no bid, or it would like be just like you said, it would be like one bid, maybe like two bids, like not even getting me over like the $1.50 mark.
Yep.
So one thing that I did, kind of like Michael was saying, I switched from doing like all of my like, if a card's like I'm seeing selling around 99 cents, I just list it $1 or best offer, buy it now. That way, if the person doesn't want to spend the dollar, they can still send me like a best offer for like 75 cents or 50 cents or whatever they think the card's worth. But that way it's always available. And that way I don't have to keep worrying about relisting it every single time it ends without any action or whatever. But like to Michael's point, like if you're listing like Isaac Okoro's like I am or something like that, like I'm an Isaac Okoro fan and I'm not even wanting to buy his cards right now. So like, imagine like other people that are in the same boat as me, like then having to like fight one another over that Isaac Okoro.
Yeah.
and then having to like be there at like the perfect time to catch it ending too, because most of the time if it's like a cheap card, you're just going to like ending soonest and not necessarily like looking for one and like watching it as it ends.
Yep.
At least in my opinion, that's what I found just from testing the lower end stuff. But if you have like something higher end, like say you have like a Babe Ruth auto or something that'd be worth sending to like Heritage or Golden or something like that, 100%, those are the cards that you want to do auctions on. But you want to make sure that you put it in front of like the eyes at like the appropriate time. Like something like that, I would consider scheduling it for a specific day of the week, a specific time of day. You know, like I've tend to find Sunday evenings do pretty well. You know, sometimes you can even set up bigger cards towards like the beginning of the month when you know like more people have spendable income, because you know the sad fact of America is a lot of people live in poverty. So, you know, 1st and 15th, they have money, and towards the end of the month, they may not. So, kind of being a little bit more strategic about when you want to actually think about moving something sometimes helps too.
Yeah. So we got some people coming in. Scuba Steve. Steve, thanks for popping in, buddy. Appreciate it. Dommy, what is going on? Your buddy, my buddy, everybody's buddy Dom. Yeah, like Jason says, you know, start them at 4 or 5 if that's what you think they would sell for. But I mean, to be honest with you, you know, you have to think from a timing standpoint. What I would do is this, David, when you're looking at selling your cards, when you try and comp them, just take a look and see when you're on your eBay, you go on the left side and you scroll down. See how many are up for auction and see how many are up for buy it now. Because more than likely, you might, you know, I don't know for sure, depending on the card, right? But a lot of times you will get yeah, Dommy, you will get more. You'll see that there are more that are buy it now. So you're at an auction, and let's say even if it's only a 10-day auction, even at 99 cents, somebody might be willing to pay $2, $3 because they know if I buy it on Monday, I should have it, you know, potentially, you know, by the weekend. Whereas if you have a starting bid on a Monday, now, you know, it used to have to go through all the way until next Wednesday or Thursday before the auction closes. Before then, you can potentially get that card shipped to you. So a lot of it is timing when it comes with the lesser, you know, value stuff and everything.
Dr. Manis, what up? Firestarter, good to see you.
Yep.
The
Johnny, how you doing, buddy?
other thing, before you move on to the next question, I wanted to bring up in regards to the Facebook group aspect. I know Dave's had some success with Facebook groups in the past. I would say if you still have like a decent like number of guys that would buy off of you in a Facebook group, or if you have like, for example, a lot of people that we watch, Michael, have like YouTube auctions, like I used to have on Sundays back in the day. Um, Now, if you have like a built-in audience of people or a built-in like follower base that will like buy cards off of you and they get good deals and you save having to like pay the fees, because a lot of times, if I'm being honest with you, like I'm probably paying close to 20% in eBay fees, because a lot of times I'm paying the extra 5 to 6% to make sure I'm the one who sells the LaMelo Ball base card over the other like 3 million that are on eBay. So because of that, personally, if you have a way to do that for less fees, I would advocate not aggravate, or I would suggest doing it that way. Is what I'm trying to say. But again, not everybody has that luxury. Like even myself, like if I'd go live right now, I could probably get more for some cards on you know, on eBay than I could just on my YouTube channel, you know, or just if I was on my Instagram, for example. Like, you know, even though I have a card following, not necessarily enough people, like for example, the scale of eBay. You know what I mean? Like if I post an Isaac Okoro card, there might not even be somebody that puts a like on it. Whereas if I post it on eBay, you know, and it's a decent card, there's most likely to be somebody that watches it.
Yep. Hey, Will, how you doing? Thanks for coming by. You're very welcome. Thank you, Dommy. T-Bone, thank you.
But yeah, Jason had that
Okay.
question. Sorry about that. I just wanted to
Where's the other one?
tie the bow on that.
Oh, about the you mean the Facebook versus eBay?
No, I think it actually might be for cheap cards, 20 or less. The lowest bin is 18. I'll list mine at 15.99, a buck or two lower than others. That way mine's the lowest. Yeah, that's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
One thing I've noticed too, Jason, that you might want to test too, rather than always just being the lowest, try seeing the difference and promoting it versus being the lowest. Because sometimes my card might be like even like multiple dollars more than somebody else's, and I still sometimes get to sell first just because I pay the like whatever they're asking for on most of my like lower end stuff. But yeah, that's a good practice to have, because typically if most people see that, like as me personally, I'm the guy that sorts lowest, and then I sorted that way, so that way I'm 100% getting the cheapest card, even if it's by a penny. Like that makes me feel good about myself knowing that
Yeah.
I paid a penny less than somebody else.
See,
So
see, I do different. I do odd pricing. Like for instance, my lower end cards and everything, I do for $1.23 with best offer. And then I'll do like $2.36 or $3.26 or $4.21, just because sometimes that does catch an eye over $3.99 or $4.99. You know what I mean? So
yep.
it's silly. Hi Sam, how you doing? From that standpoint, last time I saw on eBay was a Beast Game Worn banana. Oh golly, damn you, Dommy. No, but I think I the Facebook stuff, again, that's okay. But again, it's a matter of getting in the group. Is the group active and all the other kind of stuff? I mean, the truth of the matter is, look, YouTube is great, Instagram, Facebook, even let's say whatnot per se. A lot of that stuff is good if you have the following.
Yeah.
There was a guy who complained, is in a Discord. He's like, man, people don't like my cards. No one's buying my stuff. And it's like, well, where are you posting them? Here in Discord. It's like, we only got like 50 members in the Discord. You're marketing to the exact same audience all the time.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's so it's not that your cards suck. You just have, the audience, you're going to the same audience with the same stuff over and over again. Yeah, no one's gonna go ahead and buy it. From that standpoint.
The other thing too is like sometimes get creative and think outside the box. Like, because here's the thing about social media, especially in the sports card space. Like, how many of us that like openly post cards on our Instagram haven't had a million people say, "Hey, join my break XYZ." Like a lot of us just get straight spammed with like
Mm-hmm.
everybody's card related activity, even if we don't really care about it or want to participate in it. So I think sometimes there's that like little bit of a bias just because there is so much of that activity going on. But I think sometimes if you think outside the box and you'll differentiate yourself a little bit from like everybody and their mom, or at least do something a little bit more unique, or just make it a little bit more exciting, and the standard person like myself, like if something catches my eye, like I'm more prone to join the break or to participate in an auction or something like that, as opposed to just like, oh, another break. Because like I follow like 6,000 people on Instagram, and I would venture a guess like the high 5,000s of them are probably sports card accounts.
Right.
Like if you posted a LeBron or a Cleveland Cavalier or any form of Pittsburgh Steeler in the past, like however many years I've been on Instagram, I've probably followed you for it. So now it's like a million of like these random guys that like I don't even know most of them outside of the fact that they have cool cards.
Yeah.
So really being that there's so many of them, like, and I'm sure it's the same on most of your guys' social media, is like something like really has to make them stand out for me to even like want to click onto their post.
Right. Yep. And Jason makes another good point. If you're going into a group and everything like that, you know what? I mean, you want to use, if you're paying with PayPal, you want to use goods and services.
Yeah.
And to me, if I go in if I'm talking to somebody and they're like, well, I'll only do friends and family. And I'm like, I don't know who you are. No.
What
I mean, I'll pay you a few dollars more, maybe, but I'm not going to go ahead and do friends and family and, get screwed because I have no idea who you are.
One thing I'll suggest too, because I used to actually run a sports card Facebook group back in the day. Um, if you ever like are going to make a deal with somebody and like you don't know the person, or even if it sounds too good to be true, or if it even sounds like fishy, typically on each Facebook group, there should be some kind of tab you can click on to tell you who runs the Facebook group, who the admins are, that type of stuff. Or if you're, in the group quite often, you probably see who like the people are kind of running things. I would not hesitate to like DM them if you're getting ready to make a deal with somebody, just to say, hey, have you ever, heard anything about this person's name, XYZ?
Mm,
You know what I mean? Are they, copacetic to trade with, and then they're either going to say one of two things, like, I have no clue who that person is, that person's good, or, this person is like a red flag that's been targeting people in this group.
yep.
Because we used to have like one guy, like specifically, that had a fake Patrick Mahomes that was always trying to peddle that stuff in our group. And it was only because like we had so many people that were just, hardcore like card people, that they just knew right off the bat, like, this is like some fake Mahomes type stuff.
Yep.
So
Adrian, how you doing? A League of Our Own. Anthony, that's something we have to figure out a way. We may have to try and do a taped interview with Adrian.
that'd be great.
She's awesome. I mean, she's she's a great part of the card community, great part of the hobby and everything. She has a fantastic channel and everything, and we got to figure out how to go ahead. And she works friggin' nights. It's like, come on, Adrian, come on. You should not be working nights. You should, you should be off so you could hang out with us one night. Just kidding. I understand. We're gonna figure it out. We are gonna figure it out.
Yeah, we could definitely do a daytime and just like record it and upload
But I
it.
think, with so many options, the truth of the matter is this, if you're going to be selling on eBay, you know, you really have to make sure that you have the listing right. Don't just put, 2020 Patrick Mahomes Panini Prism. You know what I'm saying? Like, do whatever you got to do. Make sure you get, Kansas City Chiefs in there. If it's a silver, whatever, do those types of things so that this way, you know, you're making yourself stand out,
I would
and
like to,
also make good freaking pictures.
that's
Don't
huge too.
take crap. Don't post. I mean, it's amazing how many like, blurry pictures or, part of a card is cut off because if
Yeah.
you post a card with, let's say, I don't care if it's just like one of the corners not in the picture. My first thought is, I wonder what's wrong with that corner.
Yep.
I want
So
to stay away from that. You know what I'm saying? From that standpoint. So there's things you can do. I mean, I just sold, I sold what was it? 2 days ago. Yes, because he won the Super Bowl, but I sold a Patrick Mahomes base like 2020 score. Why did mine sell when there was probably 30 or 40 of listed? Well, a lot of that had to do with, it had all the important information out there, and the picture, was,
thank you.
was great also. You
Yeah,
know what I'm saying?
speaking of that, the information you're talking about there, item specifics, all that stuff. How many of you guys, I'd be curious to know, like just in chat, that sell on eBay, how many of you guys just straight up spam your titles? because like me, I try to use every bit of the 80 characters they give me, like to the point where like I will literally like sometimes like for certain people, like I'll put their team, I'll put their city. Like if I can't think of nothing else and it's Tom Brady, I'll put a goat. You know what I mean? Like I just want to fill it with as many different things that could come up in search as possible so that
Yep.
mine gets pulled to the top. Because that's really what it is as many pieces of your title that get hit by what gets typed in. If yours is like a better match, yours is going to pull to the top unless you're promoting your stuff, then obviously that'll go above that stuff. But naturally, even if you are promoting it, that then gives you two listings. So essentially it'll show your listing, like your natural listing, like even if it's booty cheeks and like it's hard to find, it could still be found, but then the one that you promote will be like up at the top somewhere. So it definitely gives you a lot more of a ability to sell cards, especially if you're not as strong with the SEO side of things, with trying to get like all the proper words and everything in there to make it searchable. You know, like after I believe it's 30 days, like Google actually puts it on their site too. So after 30 days, it makes it a little bit easier for people outside of eBay to find you. But in that first 30 days, it's very hard for people outside eBay to find your listing unless they're really, really niche down, hitting those key terms in your title.
Yeah. So like with me, I put what I think I want as my, when I in my search, because I use sell similar. Well, depends. I use sell similar. If I am going to be selling, let's say, a bunch of cards from the same set, then I find one that has most of the item specifics, and then I'm usually just changing like the name, the card number, and maybe the team in the item, because then I'll just I'll make a draft, then I'll just copy the drafts and go on and go from there. But I use the solds because I'm thinking, hey, if a card sold, something brought that person to that sold card, and I will see what they use in their titles. Listed is great. I look at the solds and I will see, and if I go, oh, I didn't think about putting that word in a title, I'm throwing that one in there, and it'll be okay and stuff. eBay, fill those titles. Yep. A light box for the pictures also. Yep. Same here. Mike and Ant, when do we start seeing your PCs?
I'll show you the newest addition to my PC. If I can blow this picture up. I literally just ordered this like 3 hours ago, 4 hours ago, something like that. My PC is very heavy in LeBron James, like Pittsburgh Steelers, Cleveland Cavaliers, that type of stuff. So obviously I'm going to show you a LeBron James card, but let's see. Where's my eBay at? There we go.
Whoa. Wrong one. Whoops.
Sure. Just go ahead and get rid of me, man.
Oh, you're sharing that way.
Yeah, I just shared the screen.
Oh.
This is the newest addition to my PC. It is a 2021 Panini Crown Royal T-Mall LeBron Red Snow Globe PSA 9. These things are really, really cool. Marty has a Luka Doncic like it, and like ever since like he got that, I've basically wanted this LeBron. So went out and treated myself to an expiring auction earlier today and added the LeBron Snow Globe to the PC.
For me, one of my last ones would have been the Big E autograph.
Oh yeah, that's a slick card, man.
Yeah,
it's a really slick one.
I don't need any more Michael Chavis cards, but when someone's gonna put a numbered autograph at 99 cents, this is one. I mean, it sucks, but it's just hard to sometimes it's hard to pass it up, especially if it's one that I don't have.
Marty pulled a couple cards of him today out of the new 2023 just top series one. Oh, you already got some?
I got a couple of blasters, and then I did order a jumbo and a hobby box.
Nice. Yeah, the jumbos are pretty good. From what we saw, the jumbos were a little bit better than the hobby box.
Yes, everybody's saying right now that the jumbo is a cool way to go. Well, thank you, Dami.
Also, did you hear the big news about SGC? There's $9 grading promo on Topps Series 1 right now. They just
I
announced
know.
it today.
That's what I'm hoping. Pull a couple of Rushmans or some of the other rookies, or maybe some short print
Mm-hmm.
New York Mets out there and everything.
Yep. Yeah, that'd be
New
huge.
additions: a Curry auto 101 and a Pele auto to 4. Oh,
Nice.
huh. Wow.
Yeah, that's a little more high end than my. um, I'd say this is probably the most expensive one I bought recently. This $47 one.
Yep.
I've been trying to be a little bit more good about not buying as many LeBrons as I've been accustomed to buying over the years.
I'm happy in that really the guys that I would collect the most, which would be like Chavis and Fred Lynn. Although Fred Lynn does have some cards that can get up there, for the most part, timing auctions the right way, I could be in that, 20, 15 to $20 range with a bunch of his stuff. Yeah, when you look for that auction that's going to end, at that crazy time. Oh, those were pulls.
Oh, that's awesome.
Wow, that's even better.
Huge. What set was it? Was it one of the Leaf sets? Because you can
Very
pull some
nice.
fire out of Leaf. I feel like they're super underrated, man. Like, what other set has like Al Bundy signing cards for them? You
Very
know, like
true.
I just think that's super cool. Like so many like people have signed for them.
Yeah. Add a leaf. Hey, who cares, man? I mean, that's awesome. Yeah, I don't know. So, did you notice any bump in any of your, chief cards that you might have had listed with the Super Bowl?
You know what? I only sold I think 2 or 3 Mahomes during the Super Bowl, and that was it. I thought for sure because I have a lot of Mahomes.
Yep.
I sold more of him during the playoffs than I did during the Super Bowl itself.
I sold 2 Mahomes today. During the Super Bowl, my phone went off once. And it was for Justin Herbert, not even a guy who's playing in the Super Bowl.
Interesting.
Curry was Leaf Metal Basketball. Pele was Leaf Exotic Multisport. Damn.
Nice.
Oh, look at that. Hey, Zach.
What's up, Zach?
You just won a Tommy Hilfiger a 25 auto. Way to go.
That's pretty
Zach
awesome.
Sports Cards and Collects, man. Hey, gang, I say something, also, check out some of the names that you have in this chat and see if those guys got channels or IGs, and give them a follow and stuff like that. I mean, there's a lot of people who, do really good things, in the community and stuff. And, we could if we could support each other, that's the way we're going to help, everybody, grow. What is that one? Yeah, crazy card add to the PC. I would say so, and it's another Leaf.
It's awesome.
Yeah,
I think Leaf gets kind of like a butt rep. I mean, I think back in the day, like they weren't super great, but I think like the modern day Leaf, like with the chromium cards, like the celebrity autos, like all of the different stuff, like yeah, a lot of it's not licensed, which like sort of sucks, but like outside of Fanatics pretty soon, like is anything going to be licensed? Not really.
No, it's not. And I think I think part of it that you look at it is from a standpoint of licensing, number one, but number two, Leaf really wasn't. They seem to like stop putting out, a lot of stuff. And they went to more. I mean, not to me. I think doing the metal and the multi sports and all those other type of things. Those are cool. Like the chief, the Leaf Metal Champions and stuff like that. Where you open that up, and you're getting golf snowboarding, basketball, baseball, football, announcers. You're getting the whole thing, and and that's that's pretty cool. No worries, Johnny. We understand. Yeah, baseball. Oh, in the '80s, Leaf baseball was good. So I just wonder. But hey, look, they found their niche. No one else is doing what they do now. And you can say,
Yeah.
well, Tops does a little bit. They do Allen and Ginter and so on and so forth. Yeah, but that's one set and stuff like that. So,
Mhm.
and it's also a completely different looking type card versus the shiny cards that Leaf is doing. The
Yep.
shiny thing is the one that that people want.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
think a lot of their sets look wonderful.
they do. They do. You know, but yeah, I mean, it's going to be interesting. I saw with the release today, basically, of the Tops 2023, Series 1. I'm sure that's what Marty was ripping the crap out of.
That also Donruss came out today. Donruss football. So he ripped
Oh.
several of those. Spoiler alert: the box promises you autographs, but it does not always deliver.
Oh, really?
In fact, we saw today more times than not it does not.
You got the on average,
Oh yeah, he got the under average
under average.
multiple times at multiple stores.
Man,
Yeah, he was not lucky today.
there
Well,
there
actually,
are some
technically he
people
was because he pulled a $3,000 raw card today. Well, technically it was a redemption.
in
I don't
baseball.
want to spoil it too much. Yeah, baseball.
Nice.
And then he pulled like literally like the mammoth of cards from Hoops. Like it, this dude like literally has several horseshoes like just living in his anal cavity right now, and he uses these horseshoes to pull high end cards. My guy Dave's in the house. What's up, man? Good to see
Dave, what up, mate? Yeah, but think about it. Look at all the cards you got today.
you. Touche. Because it's
Harlan,
going to
what's
inevitably get to
happening,
the
buddy?
point where he has to deal with base cards. Like if you watch some of the videos, like he'll just be like base, base, base going through like as he's ripping it.
Yeah.
If as you're opening the pack, you don't get any more excited about the cards than as the pack is opening. That's when you should be like the most excited you're ever going to be about that specific card. Outside of it maybe coming back from PSA 10. Like
Right.
it's when the pack's opening that you should be the most pumped. That he's just like, no. So yeah, you're probably not wrong. It's probably going to come to a point where his wife's going to be like, get this crap out of the house, and then all of these base cards are going to come live here till I put them on eBay.
Well, I think the thing is with Martin, and it's great because he knows he has the Anthony pile, and then he has his pile.
Yeah, you should have definitely seen Marty. He definitely was going through them withdrawal sweats today. Yeah, it paid off well for him. He followed his gut, and he got some really stellar cards. Excited to one of them's already released on the channel. The very first box he ripped today, he hit a downtown in.
Wow.
Massive. Yeah, and that ended up being like maybe the like third, fourth, maybe even fifth best card he got today. It was insane. Like just the luck he had.
That's cool, Harlan. Couple
Awesome, brother.
shows. Nice, nice,
Are you
nice.
going to be setting up to sell, or are you just going to be buying? Tell you what, card shows are wonderful arbitrage for eBay sellers because you
Well,
can.
didn't you go to one recently or no?
To me or to Harlan?
No, you.
Yeah, Marty and I just went to one recently.
Yeah.
This past weekend.
So Dave is not buying boxes, buying things. Yeah, I mean, that's really the way. I mean, that's if yes, that's a great way to go and stuff like that. I should probably do a little bit more, but I'm just not that smart right now.
I do that for the most part outside of like, oh, look, I found like a set I want at retail.
Yeah.
Once like I have like the LeBrons out of it, or like if the Cavs have rookies, once I have that player, then it's like I have no interest in buying the box anymore.
Mhm.
But if it's like a wrestling set that comes out, I'll still break down and buy a box just because I'm a degenerate with that stuff. It makes me feel like a kid opening up wrestling, and like it's still reasonably affordable compared to some of the other sports.
Most definitely. Most definitely. But it's gonna be, I mean, I've already, already started seeing. I mean, man, people are ripping and posting on eBay already.
Mhm.
2023, singles and everything. So that's awesome. And people are starting to list that stuff. So it gives the folks the opportunity to buy them up. Buster Posey, one
Nice.
out of 15, three-color patch,
It's really
about
nice.
140 United States doll hairs. Yeah. Oh, hey, that's great. That's a big card. Posey's a really good guy. He should be a first ballot Hall of Famer,
Yep.
and stuff like that. you know,
Definitely agree.
but going back to the the SGC thing, I mean, yeah, and it's funny, you know, somebody posted somewhere on Twitter, "Hey, with SGC doing the $9 for cards, you're gonna send any of your 2022, to them?" And people right away, "Oh hell no, no!" It's like people going ahead and uh, just bashing on them and stuff like that. Oh, only if it's gonna be for my PC and so on and so forth. And it's like, we've talked about it a couple different times. I don't understand. I don't understand why PSA is perceived to be when, I don't know, when you know their past and stuff like that of how they gave out grades and crazy stuff and everything. But I mean, I plan on it. I have no no reason not to,
Hmm.
from that standpoint. So what are you going to do? And one of the guys said, "Well, why would I do that when PSA's turnaround time is quicker?"
I don't know
I
that
mean,
it's quicker, but I mean, the main thing I will say for PSA is obviously the resale value. Like, but not only the resale value, I would say the liquidity of it. It's a lot more liquid than basically any other slab. And I've sold like a lot of different other types of slabs. So like now that I'm getting like a steady flow of PSA back, that they're not like taking like years to grade cards. Like it's typically like been anywhere from like a month to like a month and a half turnaround, pillar to post. I have one order that's taken a while. I'm not entirely sure what's up there. Um, Basically I've had like three other orders pop and be returned before this one order that I sent like way beforehand, but it still hasn't reached like what their actual turnaround time on the website is, like the 120 days for service level. So I can't really complain yet. So um, I found that to be kind of weird. Like, has anybody ever sent cards to PSA and had it put on like some kind of a hold? Because that's typically what it says. And when I reached out about it, they basically just said, "Hey, it hasn't been 120 days, so it may just take longer to grade these specific cards." And I was like, I send you like a complete order of LeBrons like every single time, and normally you get like 20 at a time. I sent like 11 in this order, and it's like being held for some reason.
yeah.
Um,
I don't know. I mean, I'm not 100% sure. I don't know. To me, I look at it from a standpoint of, again, first things first, I will never understand why, you know, why it is the way that the value, why, I don't understand why. If a car is a 10, it's like, I understand there's no standard per se, right? Not everybody uses the same guidelines, and that right there, I understand, is part of the issue.
Yep. That
But to me, there shouldn't be that big of a disparity. A PSA 10 versus an SGC 10 versus a BGS 10. I don't think, all right, maybe one should be more, but for crying out loud, sometimes you look at them, it's like, big dollar, difference between the two.
Shout out to the chat for covering this one for us. Yes, they do. A lot of different companies do it a little bit differently. Some companies have something as simple as like it's kind of like a Google sheet type thing on their website where it's basically you can click on it and see all the cards that they've graded. Some sites are as like intricate as PSA, where you can like type in Joe Burrow and see like all of the Joe Burrows, like all of the counts of everything for every type of card and stuff like that. But yeah, everybody does have some form of that. Not every company updates it regularly though, so that's something that you'll notice on some of the newer companies or the like smaller ones. Sometimes they're not as frequent with their pop report updates as like obviously PSA and other companies are. Now PSA, I'm pretty sure updates theirs either every Tuesday or every Wednesday every week. So if you're ever like wanting to check for updates and you've been waiting for a certain card or something like that to hit the report, typically like I said, I'm pretty sure it's either Tuesdays or Wednesdays they update those pop reports. Nice. That's pretty cool. Hires people with graphic designing or printing backgrounds to do the grading. That makes a lot of sense because for example, the graphic designing, like believe it or not, my degree from school's in graphic design. That was like my major. My minor was like marketing, but the reason I say that is one of the big things that they teach you when you go through design school is attention to detail, and like they really drive that home. So when it comes to grading, that's also like another skill that's like very, very good, is attention to detail. So I can see why they would do that and bring in people with the artistic eye, because typically like, designers are supposed to catch things that catch the eye. But yeah, that's a very smart strategy that they're taking there. I don't know if you're going to talk to your buddy there anytime, Dave, but I would love to pick his brain, like in one of these shows, maybe just like to get like an idea of like the Funko Pop space, like as far as how he grades them and stuff like that. I just think that'd be really cool to get some kind of a official explanation of how grading companies grade Funkos, because I don't think, at least I've never seen anything official outside of like what PSA puts on their like grade scale and stuff like that. But I've never seen like anything official, like, hey, this is how we do it, XYZ. Like as far as cards, it's like we're looking at the surface, we're looking at the corners, we're looking at the edges, and then we're going to look at the centering and stuff like that. So like what are the parameters that we're being judged on here for a Funko Pop? Like I just think that'd be really fascinating to pick someone's brain that specializes in it. That'd be awesome. Yeah. And again, if it's something he doesn't have availability during this time frame, we'd be happy to meet him on a different day and just record it.
Yeah.
And upload it.
And I think because you think about it from a standpoint of, obviously with Pops, you're definitely doing the box, but you would have to think there has to be some part of the actual pop that needs to be looked at also.
I'm wondering though, because like I was looking at PSA's grade scale, and like all the way down to like a 1, it's always talking about like box condition. So like I'm wondering, like, do they even take into account like, I guess because most of these things haven't been opened, because I would imagine if you've opened it and taken it out, you probably aren't going to grade it.
Yep.
Oh, nice, man.
Yeah, I would think I would think that'd be too. Yeah, because you wouldn't want to take it out with the potential of damaging the box when you're putting it back in.
Yeah, absolutely.
SCI recently did a video with a couple of SGC graders that was pretty interesting. That you would enjoy, answer some of those questions. He did. Is that Adrian? Are you referring to the one where he did like the contest against the other guy? Is that the video? There was one out there
the
where
grade off or whatever it was.
Yeah, Pete offered like X number of dollars, and whoever got the closest grade just eyeballing it versus a grader. I saw that one. I don't know if that's the one that Adrian is referring to.
I thought that was really cool because the guy actually gave his like reasoning for grades, you know what I mean? Which like that's the main thing, and most of the main four companies don't do is actually share why cards got what they got, you know what I mean, and stuff like that. And there were some rough looking edges on the one card the guy graded, but the grader was like, yeah, because of the way this card was cut, it wasn't a Gretzky, but it was like cut the same way the Gretzky's are with like the wire.
Yep.
So like, obviously, if you're pressing wire into something, it's gonna look a little bit more rigid than if you're cutting it with like something that you would cut with today, or like a straight razor or anything else.
Everybody's saying basically saying the same thing.
Yeah.
Same thing. But I mean, and right, this is that's what the problem you have is there are a lot of PSA 10s that are very questionable, and that's what irritates the crap out of me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a very interesting video. It was very cool to see. I refuse to acknowledge SCI anymore. Well, how come too many shenanigans? I don't know. I with him it's hard. I mean, I know he has nothing. He cannot go ahead and affect. He has no. I mean, he has some influence, but he has no influence. But it's kind of crazy when you hear about him buying a card for excuse me, $215,000, and then you look at the value, 6 weeks, 8 weeks later, and it's like 180,000. It's like holy cow,
Yeah. I mean, honestly, like anybody, I think buying like the big, like high end cards, like most of them are probably in that same, like, I guess situation right now where they're upside down on a lot of stuff. Like I think like honestly, like I don't want to say I'm blessed for being broke, but like I'm covered by the fact that I'm dealing with cards that are mainly like under $10 for the most part. Like if I right now I have 1,300 plus cards on eBay, and I would venture to guess probably 1,000 of those are probably under $10, most likely. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like the majority of what I deal in is like that low end stuff. Like whereas, even if it would lose 25%, like what's 25% off of, like it goes from being a $10 card to a 750, you know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah.
not going to crush me,
Correct. Yeah, I mean, I'll put at some point in time, like I said, I guarantee you at some point in time, my collection worth won't be worth even what maybe one of his mid-level, collection things are worth.
for
But I
sure.
agree right there, Adrian,
It's all about scale, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
he plays in a different pool than we do. You know what I mean? But one thing I will say about Jeff, like as somebody that's met him at shows, he's the nicest guy in person. Like I don't know,
Oh yeah.
much about like any of the stuff like on like YouTube or anything, but like just from like a personal like interaction, he's been a nice guy.
Oh yeah.
But
No,
as far as like any of like the tips, investment advice, like I think a lot of people have been like wrong on stuff, you know what I mean, since the pandemic and stuff. But
hey, when you think Will Greer is going to be a veteran veteran than Kyler Murray, not that
well,
Murray is that much great of an investment, but but I think Adrian, I do the same thing. I watch him from enjoyment because I know that I'll see cards that I won't be able to afford. It's that simple.
Touche, Dave. Touche. I'm sure he was quite nice in public. But yeah, I mean, I guess I could say this. I don't know him on like a personal level. Like I know Michael. Like me and Michael hung out at his house. We had dinner. We watched wrestling. Like I've never had that kind of an experience. Like I've had public interactions where he's been like a very nice guy, and stuff like that. But I guess one of the main reasons I can't talk crap on the Will Greer thing is because while he was buying Will Greer, I was buying into a ton of breaks to get Sekou Demboya cards. So I didn't do any better, unfortunately.
Well, that's because
like the Garlands of the world and like the Cavaliers, but I would have bought them even if they were the next Anthony Bennett. So I guess that doesn't really count.
Yeah. I think I don't know. I to me, the guys like that, no matter who they are, whether it's him whether it's Daps, whether it's, all those Mojo, whether it's all those guys, let's face it, the truth of the matter is, I don't know how much of the hobby is a hobby to them, or if the hobby is what is the what do I want to say? The the piece that gets them to make the YouTube income, right? That they found that they like the hobby, but the truth of the matter is that they're doing it more, and they consistently go to all these things because of the money side that they're getting between YouTube and all these different things. I mean, a lot of these guys, they'll say, "Hey, I go to the shows and I raid the dollar boxes, and then I start these. I have a big following on Whatnot, so I put these for $1." And what we've seen and what has been said over and over again, cards sell for a lot more on Whatnot for people that have a big following, because a lot of people want to say, I bought X from this person here.
Yeah.
Right. And stuff like that.
Makes sense.
Yep.
Yeah, that makes sense, Dom. Like, as far as like the homegrown guys, like, because me and Michael are basically just guys like anyone else. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
we don't have super big followings or anything like that, or we're not like rock stars when it comes to the hobby or anything like that. We're just normal guys that like to collect.
Yeah, I think Mike does breaks and everything. He does really good stuff. Anthony, if you want, you should check out his channel. He runs his breaks in a unique way, which is pretty cool. In that, what he does is, he says he's going to have a break on this day at this time, and then what he does is he says, okay, at 7:00 I'm going to get online. At 7:15, he has a list of all the teams and how much they're going to cost. And at 7:15, he says, basically, go. If you're in the chat, you can put up to 2 teams that you want, that you would like. And then what he does, if multiple people want that same team, he does like a 1-minute auction with the starting price, whatever he deemed it. Now, Mike goes through and he, it's not, hey, every spot is $20. He has $25 spots, but he has, like $8 spots for teams that don't have a lot of cards. And so what happens is, if, you could go first round and say, hey, first round is, I want the Pittsburgh Pirates. Nobody else wants the Pittsburgh Pirates, and he had the Pittsburgh Pirates at $12. You get him for $12. And then he stops that first round after a certain amount of time. Then he opens up the second round, does the same thing. And then usually after the second round, if there are still teams available, it's first come, first serve. And what he also does is he takes $4 off every team you buy after your first team. Nice. So if you buy Pittsburgh for $12 and you buy the Rockies for $8, Rockies are only going to cost you $4.
Nice.
So he, and he makes it, he makes it worth it for you to, for you to be there.
That's awesome.
Yep. It is no longer a hobby. You got that right. I did that with Phil's pulls. It's amazing what people will put in a dollar box. Yeah. And it's funny you say that, Harl, that's one of the things, and especially the bigger YouTubers, or the people that own the show, like Card Collector 2. Collector 2, he even says, listen, if you come to National, I remember, you want to come by my box table. Now, yes, he wants that to happen, but he says that, he starts putting his boxes together. He's probably, I wouldn't surprise me if he's starting now to put his dollar boxes together for the National in July. And he said, look, once I put them together, they're closed. They go to the side. I don't have time, to go through them. So let's just say all of a sudden there's another guy, I don't know, pick a basketball player who you wouldn't think would go nuts, and all of a sudden he goes nuts and his value goes up.
Cam Thomas right now.
Yeah. If they're in his,
I can't tell you how many Cam Thomas cards Marty gave me for free. just because he wasn't a big name player, and he's been blowing up since Kyrie got traded.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh
Gary
yeah.
V, I think, was just on interview on Sports Cards Live, Jeremy Lee's channel recently. I think he said something to the effect where he kind of lays low more so in cards because he got accused a lot of pumping and dumping. Again, I don't know what side of which camp anyone's on when it comes to Gary V, pump and dump, all that type of stuff. I mean, he claims that he doesn't sell the cards that he's like, I guess, pumped or whatever, but um, um,
Yep. She does. She does a great
yeah.
thing. Yeah, so Adrian, just so you know, Dom's not sucking up. But you're right. And that's why, she is. She does a great job with her channel and everything, and authentic. Oh, and the truth is, I mean, at the end of the day, to come hang out, talk about, pieces of cardboard with some ink on them, and stuff like that and everything, and fancy schmancy designs, and maybe, somebody's cut up, worn, jersey if you're lucky. Why
Speaking
not
of
have
cut up
fun?
worn
Why not
jerseys,
why not just have fun?
have you seen these videos that people have been posting to YouTube where they're actually cutting open Panini relics? And typically on the back of the jersey swatch should have the player's name. And they're finding a lot of those jersey swatches aren't even like related to the actual player that the card's of.
No, I didn't see that.
Yeah, I've been I want to say Dan the Card Man might have reported on that if I'm not mistaken. Um, I'm sure Dave might have seen that video if it was Dan because he watches Dan as well.
Yeah, you're right, Harlan. I mean, there are people you go because you know that they don't really rifle through their stuff. They're not pulling out all the good stuff, and you get awesome deals and everything. Well, thank you, Dom. Much appreciated. No, it's not. I mean, when I started this, I never thought about turning it into a business. I'm not saying that I don't sell cards and stuff like that. I do, but I'm really selling them so that I can go ahead and go buy another box to rip open. you know, I'm not selling them to do, a lot of other, different things and stuff like that. I mean, that's, anything that comes in, goes right back,
Selling it to support your habit.
yeah. I'm a degenerate.
That's how I get all my LeBrons.
I got to keep going, man. All right. Half the break is done. Way to go, Johnny.
Nice.
But I mean, John's another guy who runs really good breaks, great value. Prices are very, very good, very, very competitive. They're right there. You're not gonna, not breaking your bank and everything. I mean, and like I said, it's all good. It all comes back, Steve, and so I'll tell you, Anthony,
Oh, that's cool.
there's a guy you like the different type stuff.
Oh yeah.
That's a guy that you should go ahead and check out his channel. He does a lot of that stuff. Like all of a sudden, like Happy Days cards or Laverne. I mean, just like all kinds of different stuff and everything. He does a lot of cool stuff there.
I love that kind of stuff. I'm always the guy that goes to the Comic Cons and like buys up all like the random like wax of like all the Power Rangers, Ninja Turtles, like whatever
Yep.
kind of weird like off the wall stuff they have. I'm trying to get.
Yep. Yeah. Oh wow. Cracking rolls. They switched them to their on their kicks. Looks like the Partridge Family showing off. Yeah, Dan cracked one. Yeah, but I mean, I shared there's an Instagram that I shared with Anthony. It's right here. I'm gonna throw it. I'm gonna throw it in the chat. This guy makes custom cards.
Oh, is that the Dumb and Dumber guy?
No. This is the guy that he did the one like somebody. He did a custom Lou Gehrig and a custom Babe Ruth card. A guy had an autograph of both of them that was JSA certified. He actually cut the paper and made, cards
Oh
and
yeah, I did
everything.
see that. I did
Yeah,
see that.
he did
That's pretty
one that
cool.
was all right, Dave. Thank you, sir. Thanks for
Hey,
hanging out.
take it
Much
easy, brother.
appreciated.
Appreciate you being here.
Like
Um,
he did one for a guy who had, I guess, that guy had 3 dogs, and I don't know if he took parts of their collar or something like that, and made a triple relic out of that.
that
It's
was cool.
yeah, it's pretty interesting stuff and everything,
Look, this
and
was the Dumb and Dumber one. Here, let me share my screen. I love this one. This is what you sent me the other day.
so there's a lot of there's a lot of stuff out there, and like you said, it's
I love
amazing
this
some of the
card. It's like the frilliness from their
oh
suits. That's
yeah.
so cool.
Yep. So he does, and he makes the custom cards for you.
Hmm.
It's like I was telling Mike, I said, Mike, if you had one of your old, little league jerseys from when you were playing, I'm like, think about it. You could take a cool picture of yourself, and then you could make a spellbound
Yep,
using that jersey and create your own little, spellbound
that would
with
be
the last,
really cool.
yeah. I think that would be very, very cool. you know, that's crazy.
Yeah, but this guy has some really unique stuff on
He
his.
has a lot of unique stuff, man. A
Here's
lot.
just some of the different cards.
Yeah.
But look at the Kevin Durant he made right here. A one of
Yep.
one out of Kevin Durant.
Yep.
And then typically does he have oh no, he doesn't. That's just the whole card. I was gonna say sometimes he'll have pictures of like how he makes it.
Yeah,
Like
he
here's the
does.
Kevin pieces.
Yeah. He has a little video and stuff. He gets the autograph, then he finds a patch, and then he makes the cards, and then he glues them all together and stuff. I mean, it really is. It really is interesting.
The
I was
only
watching. I
thing
was
that
like,
the only thing that I would be a little cringed on is like actually taking something valuable and like destroying it. Like, granted, he ripped apart a Marcus Chris or whatever it was, but
right.
um, how much value can this really have in the future, though? You know what I mean? Granted, Marcus Chris is probably not going to have. Actually, this might improve the value over Marcus Chris. Never
Yeah.
mind.
I don't know. I mean, to me, I think from a standpoint of
But if
doing
that's a
your own,
real auto,
that's
or is
yes,
that
that's
like a fake one there that you
no,
put
that's a
in?
real Kevin Durant auto. He did a series. There was a guy who had, he got Kevin Durant did a signing for him, and he signed, like he had like 10 extra signatures of Kevin Durant. He sent them to that guy, and that guy made a series of 1 to 10 of a special Kevin Durant card.
That's super cool.
Yeah.
What, does it say on his page like what he gets paid per card?
I didn't see that. I know he has a website also, but I mean it's ridiculous when you look at it. I mean, that you say whatever you want to say. I know it's not going to pass the test and everything like that stuff, but man, you could send that to PSA or BGS just for the autograph to get the autograph authenticated.
I completely agree, Dave. He says that's a art, a lot of precision to make them look good.
Yep.
Completely agree.
Yeah. So,
I mean, I like this kind of stuff. Like, I don't necessarily know that there's going to be like a huge like market or like this is going to be like depending on how much it costs. You know what I mean? Like that this is going to be like worth whatever. Like that's cool. Look at that. Look at that. Bill Ripken. I don't want to pick
yeah.
it up too much because it's like obviously could be demonetizing to you in the future. But,
Yeah.
I mean, it just the stuff he has is super cool.
Oh, like I said, it's really amazing when you
Is
look
that
at
the
it.
poster with like an actual jersey in it? That literally is a jersey inside of a
Yeah.
giant one of one
Made to a
poster.
giant 101 poster.
That is really cool. See, like,
Yeah, so I mean, check them out. It's very very interesting. Very
I
very
love
interesting.
when people take stuff like this that they're like passionate about and like somehow monetize it. You know what I mean?
There's another guy out there who makes light boxes out of iconic cards.
Well, look at that, a graded Coca-Cola cap. It's the
Yeah.
first time I've ever seen one of those.
But yeah, but there's a guy, he takes like, the iconic cards. Yeah, I would think they probably can't be cheap.
Yeah, I would imagine, especially if it's real autographs he's using, it'd have to be like pretty expensive, I'd imagine.
Yeah, I mean it's a real autograph. you know, Look at that Pittsburgh Steeler one.
Yeah, I know. That's what caught my eye. It's 100% what caught my eye. I need to get off him because I'm gonna literally be stuck in this on this guy's IG, like not even paying attention to what we're supposed to be doing
But
on
it
the
just
show.
goes to show you, I mean, when you look at the hobby and stuff, and there are people that will do that type of stuff. They'll make that custom stuff.
Yep.
Again, would you see that guy set up at a show? I don't know. All right,
Was it the show we just went to, Culture Collision, where there was a table of somebody that had all custom cards?
yeah, there was
Pretty sure it was.
actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was when
Kinda
we were
cool.
there, there was somebody who had that, where they made their own thing and stuff like that. And you see that a
Theirs
lot.
were
I
like
mean,
3D or something
yep,
almost, weren't they? It was
yeah,
pretty cool looking.
yep. You see that all the time. I mean, but I don't know. I mean, it's all like I said, to me, to each their own. Collect what you want to collect.
Mhm.
Logo, no logo, branded, no branded. Whoever makes the card, makes the card. And then again, depends. Are you a collector or you're an investor? If you're an investor, then your mindset is going to be different than if you are a plain old, collector.
Mhm.
I mean, I don't really look at a card and go, wow, if I buy this today, this card can be worth X in the future. I just never, and I don't know if that's because when I started in the hobby, that's really more what it was. We never thought, I mean, I honestly, I would tell you in all seriousness, I don't know really when I started thinking about the actual value of cards. To me, it was just, when I started, when we moved from New York down to Georgia and everything, and I got those boxes of cards and they moved them in and stuff, and I was finding a place to put them, and I was looking through them. I was back, in the late 70s, the early 80s, and the 90s. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
It was back to them when I was looking at cards going, holy cow. Man, I haven't seen these cards in so long. I remember these cards. This was so flipping great and everything. But I didn't look at it and go, holy crap. Here is player X's rookie card from 1990, of, whatever, Tops football. Wow, this is worth X number of dollars. I just never looked at it that way.
Yep.
You know?
I used to as a kid just because like I grew up in like the 90s and it was like the Beckett era, I like to
Mhm.
call it, where it's like the hobby was hot, just like I don't want to say like the pandemic, but it was super hot like when I was a
It
kid
was.
for the most part. But I think of like probably you growing up a generation before me, like not even like a full generation, but like you grew up in the era where you probably collected for over a decade before you even thought that, hey, I should start putting these in sleeves or top loaders or X, Y, or Z, just because they weren't commonly used back in like the 70s or even like the early part of the 80s, even.
The next time you're down in this area and we get to hang out, I will show you the mid 70s binder I have of all the Hall of Famers, and you'll be
Mhm.
going, oh my gosh, that corner. Oh my God, look at that, all of that egg,
Yeah.
because you're right.
Mhm.
We didn't think, we never thought that way. Even when we
Mhm.
were trading cards, we never thought that way. Like I was saying, I think I said on one of the shows, we got a stack, of cards, and I got them. I went, hey, need them. Ooh, got them, got them, got them, got them. Oh, hey, I got all
Mhm.
these. Do you need these? To my friend that was there doing the exact same thing.
Yep.
Oh, no, I need these three. Okay, cool. Let me see what you got. Oh, I need these three. Okay, cool. Hey, you have these three. You have these three. For crying out loud, that could have been a Paul Molitor rookie, Robin Yount rookie, could have been a freaking Tony Gwynn rookie. We didn't care. We didn't know any better. We were just collecting cards because we were trying to collect all the cards. Yes, we used to flip also. I mean, scrape them across the ground and everything out. We used to go into the street and we had the little, we had, the curb and we would flip. And you flipped cards until the first person to get a leaner. The first person who got a leaner got all the cards. But there was one thing. The other person had one shot. And if they could knock that leaner down, you kept going. If not, you went over there. And again, on the ground, all you're doing is doing this, pushing them all together while you're scraping the crap out of them. You're not thinking about it.
I think the only reason my generation didn't beat the hell out of their cards as badly is because we had pogs to beat up.
True. True. But I mean, like I said, we didn't, I never thought of that, it didn't make a difference. It didn't make a difference. I mean, now I only bought football and baseball. I really didn't start buying basketball until later. And I mean, and hockey was hockey. I mean, even till today, a lot of people don't buy hockey. I mean, that people do, but not as much,
Even in certain parts of Pittsburgh, like basketball is still not even like super hot just because of like, the
my man.
We have no team here. What's up, Paul? Good to see you, brother.
Boy.
But I mean, that just goes to show in other parts of the country, other parts of the world, it's like red hot, So I guess a lot of it could be like dependent on like your area and stuff too, like whereas like I was just at one of the shops today and I was like, why don't you guys carry more basketball? Because like outside of like a couple like bargain boxes, there really weren't like any like outside of like wax. Like obviously they had wax for days, but like there weren't like they had a huge selection of like all the TCGs. They had a huge selection of football, baseball, huge selection of hockey because we have the Penguins here and the Penguins are super popular. So huge selection of that. But like even like combat sports, there's more of that than there was basketball. And I was like, why isn't there that much basketball? And he was like, well, duh, there's no team here. And obviously you think of the pandemic and how crazy basketball got during the pandemic and stuff like that. And I would say it's gotten a lot more popular in Pittsburgh since then, but like for the most part, it's still mainly the sports that we have teams here that people are like actively like really collecting hard.
Yeah. Well, I think,
it was Junction we were at today, Dave. Actually, we went to Etc. today as well, but the one I was talking to about basketball was Junction. And they said it's basically because we don't have a team in Pittsburgh that they don't stock as much basketball as they do like the other major sports.
Well, you think about where, excuse me, like, where Dom and I grew up. 2 basketball teams, 2 football teams, 2 baseball teams, 3 hockey teams. And that was right there, and you went a little bit north, you have Boston. You went a little bit, southeast, you had Philadelphia. I mean, so, we had, all that stuff, all around us, so everything was popular. There really wasn't like, oh my gosh, nobody was a hockey guy. Nobody, you really wound up liking them all because they were all there all the time. You had all the teams. So you didn't have many off days of sports when you have 8 teams that you can go ahead and follow, and that's why, with me and people go, oh my gosh, how do you not like college football? How do I not college football? Because when I grew up, you either watched Boston College, Syracuse, or Notre Dame. That was it. They didn't know what the SEC was.
Yeah, I mean, here in Pittsburgh, if it's not Pitt or Penn State, we don't care for the most part.
I went to Florida for college and everything, and people are going, so what are you? Are you ACC, SEC? I'm like, I don't know what the hell you're talking about.
It's like, who's Pitt play for again?
I'm NFL, MLB, it's like, and be, oh my gosh, you don't understand. You're going to have to change. I'm like, yeah, no, I'll take my I mean, it's not like I don't like it. It was just that it was not something that I, grew up with. Do I watch it a little more now than I did then? Yes. But a lot
Especially when
more
you're
than
in the hobby, it pays
yes.
dividends for speculation.
Yes. Cards were everywhere. We didn't, everywhere. And they were out on the counter. And I'm telling you right now, and I don't know if Don would tell you, but you know what? This whole thing that you hear about today, oh, these people that go into Target or Walmart and they take the fat packs and they press them together, it's all kind of stuff. People, that crap ain't new. Don't like I was saying, when I grew up, there was three cards. There was the rack pack, there was a larger pack of cards that was a
Mhm.
clear wrapper, and then there was, the regular wax pack, kind of like the
Yep.
shirts you have,
Yep.
right? What? I went to the store, I looked. I didn't look to see if there was a Hall of Famer or if there was, an expensive card being shown. I looked and said, "Oh, I have the one on the front. I
Yep.
have the one on the back. Why do I want to buy that one? I already got two of those cards."
Yep.
You know what I mean? So
There
it
was
was it was along those lines, and you did the same thing with the rack packs. Oh, who gives a crap that there's, a Robin Yount or an Alan Trammell or a Paul Molitor rookie card? I don't care. I have that card already, but I don't have those. I don't have the three in that rack pack. I'm taking that rack pack.
What's up, Adam? What's up, Red Dirt Picker? Yeah, and to speak to that
Red
rack
Dirt Pick,
pack,
what's up?
I know Marty found just like a couple years ago an entire box of rack packs that like literally almost every one of them showed a Ken Griffey Jr. And I can imagine like most people were like, yeah, you know what? I already have the junior, so let me go with X, Y, or Z to try to complete my entire set. Whereas like
Exactly.
today, the average collector is going to be like, let me just buy up every Griffey Jr. because I can just sell him over and over and over again, or just stack him as an investment. Whereas
Yep.
like back in the day, it was like more people valued having the complete set than, several duplicates of the same card.
Yep. Yeah, you're 100% correct. So I mean, again, it boils down to that uh hobby,
Mhm.
versus investing and stuff like that, and the way times have changed. Well, crap, you saw when we went to the Culture Collision show. How many would look? I don't know the age, but how many that we see these freaking kids that look like maybe they were 10 to 12 years old carrying Zion cases with slabbed cards going, yeah, well, I got this one over here. I might part with it for, 750. It comps at about 800. It's like, you're freaking 12 years old. Get the hell out of here, you little
Yeah,
son of
man.
a bitch.
I'll tell you what, man. There's some like little kids at the card shows that are rolling better than I am, man.
Heck
Like,
yeah.
I mean, God bless him, man. Man, like I know me and Marty used to hit up a lot of like flea markets and like card like shops and stuff growing up. I couldn't even fathom being in the shoes of some of these kids today, just like walking around with these briefcases full of just like $1,000 slabs. It's insane.
I know. It's
Like I
absolutely
don't know if my
ridiculous.
whole collection cost $1,000 as a kid.
No, it is absolutely ridiculous. you know but that's a sign of the times.
Yeah.
And the only thing that scares me, Anthony, with that is are they enjoying it as a hobby? Is it a hobby to them, or is it more of a business to them, or an investment type thing?
Mhm. Well, and that's the thing too, is if you get into this hobby as like, hey, this is a means to make money or this is a means to enrich myself in the future, like if something happens to where you don't make money like you had anticipated flipping cards, or you don't, pick a good investment, you know what I mean? Like you could be buying Seiko instead of Jaw, you know what I mean? Like a
Yep.
lot of people did that. I bought a lot of Sekou back in the day. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of players that if you pick the wrong one, you're stuck with a card that's not very valuable. You
Well,
know,
I mean, hey, modern one, look at Zion versus Ja. How many people bought
yeah,
Zions out the wazoo?
a lot.
And you don't know. I mean, luckily for him, he's still young,
Yeah,
but He's a couple more seasons. Excuse me. He's a couple more seasons away from where if he can't stay on the court, people are
Mhm.
going to be like, man, I ain't going to invest because you know what? I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah. Yeah, I was kind of a hybrid of that too, Adam. Growing up in like the Beckett era of the '90s, that was kind of like my heyday of collecting.
Yep.
I would have to say probably like '89 was probably like my first year cracking packs because I remember like Marty's favorite player was Griffey Jr. You know what I mean? He and I were like friends growing all the way back to like early childhood. So like he and I cracking packs or doing whatever, heading to the, flea markets or whatever, chasing after all the different rookie cards and stuff like that. What are your thoughts on being in the new junk wax era? So much production. Yeah. I mean, honestly, we kind of are. I mean, I think a lot of people were calling it like the junk slab era. But yeah, I mean, we're overproducing stuff to the moon at the moment. You know what I mean? Like that Griffey Jr. Card we were talking about was one of the most mass produced cards that now Zion is like leapfrogged. And I would imagine with Panini and some of the other places losing their licensing, they may just say the hell with it and just keep printing until the wheels fall off their presses. I wouldn't be shocked with, but I've like really outside of like certain cards, like and obviously bigger cards like that I can't afford like the parallels and stuff in yet. Like I've had to stick the base on some of those type of things, like the Mahomes market right now. I'm still rolling in the base. You know what I mean? I'm not rocking those silver Mahomes yet, and the autographs and such. But for the most part, I'm trying to get as many short printed cards as possible. Outside of guys that are going to always be valuable. Like the way I look at LeBron James is I'm hoping he's going to follow a similar trajectory as Jordan's prices are, because whether or not like guys my age or Michael's age think he's the GOAT, uh, kids my nephew's age think he's the GOAT because like
Yep.
their only recollection of Michael Jordan, if they're an NBA fan, they know of him or they know he's the guy that owns the Hornets or they know he's the guy that was in the first Space Jam movie. So to like my nephews, LeBron James is going to be the GOAT. So like I'm hoping by the time my nephews are like my age, like we see kind of like
They realize they're wrong.
Jordan stuff went through, like kind of LeBron's will go through that kind of stuff.
Well, they realize they're wrong.
Honestly, though, like, do you think they will? Because like, how many
They never
people
will.
like, that are like older, like like say like your dad's generation, that would have been like no one's better than Bill Russell.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And
Because
like
they're going to say,
even
you know what? Explain to me
seeing a
how.
full career of Jordan might still say he's no Kareem or he's no Bill Russell.
Yeah. People are going to say, how are you the GOAT when you still have more fingers that don't have rings when Bill Russell ran out of fingers?
Mm-hmm.
So I get it. Now, so here's my thought process on this.
Exactly, Dave.
The new junk wax, the new junk era with so much production. I think what's going to make it's not only the more production, it's the fact that even in these specialty cards, there's more production. Like if they would have mass produced base just the way they normally would have, but really didn't do anything too much with the specialty cards, I think you people wouldn't care that much. I think the problem you have now, and Scotty V Cards did a cool video on it where he was like comparing like one of ones, and I think he did like Mike Trout, and then I forgot the other player, but he did Wander Franco.
Mm-hmm.
Wander Franco has over 200 one of one cards.
That's crazy.
So I mean, right there, where you're looking at, that's why what surprises me, and I'm not really a big people go vintage, and a lot of people think, oh, vintage is only 50s and 60s, 70s and 80s, that's still vintage. But that's what gets me from a standpoint of is that how when you take some of the greats of the game that played back then, and when you take, let's say, someone like Walter Payton. who only had one rookie card. One. They didn't have 27. He didn't have 200. He didn't have, as many as Trevor Lawrence has. How that one card is not worth some of, let's say, Trevor Lawrence rookie cards.
You know what else I was just thinking too? In comparison, back then there was nothing that wasn't base. It was literally base or nothing.
It was base. It was league leaders. Every now and again, they'd mix in an all-star card, but there wasn't a
But
specialty
even that's like
card.
a base insert, right?
Right.
Like
It
it's
was
not
really,
like a
it was league
parallel
leaders.
or
It was
like
Nolan Ryan and Tom Seaver because they were
no
the
relics,
strikeout
no
leaders.
autos, like
No autographs.
not even really die cuts or anything until what, the 90s? Like 90s is really when like parallels started to become a thing with like refractors and
Yeah.
different stuff like that, I would imagine. I could be wrong though. I mean, but I would imagine that was more so the 90s, where that stuff became more of a.
No, you're right. You're right. I mean, from that standpoint, but that's the thing. Like I said, that's the thing that confuses me sometimes. Like I was saying, like when we were at the Nationals and they were doing a live break and somebody pulled the Herbert rookie auto NFL shield and people were already offering that person $250,000 for that card.
Yeah, it's
A
insane.
rookie patch auto of Justin Herbert for $250,000. Right then and there, people were trying to buy it.
I think a lot of things that kind of get people into trouble in the modern market, like especially people that haven't collected specifically like all the way through. Like, for example, like, collecting in like the 90s to collecting now is like, it's drastically different because there's so many different parallels. And especially if you were like an 80s or a 70s collector, like we talked about, where there really weren't parallels and stuff like that. Like, because you could be collecting like base prism cards right now or X, Y, and Z, like thinking, hey, that's like the main card, because you think of, hey, what's like the main Ken Griffey Jr.? Okay, it's the upper deck or whatever.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, because you can still narrow it down to like the main set, with the like most, I guess, popular card of it in that set, but not even thinking that there's like a gajillion of that base card printed. So unless you have like a silver or like a short print, a numbered card, a relic, an auto, something like that, it's really, not going to be like super, super valuable long term. Now, if you have the right player, like a Mahomes score rookie card is still pretty valuable. And
Yep.
score is like one of the more low end sets you can buy. So it's going to be player dependent, but for the most part, like whenever I look through, my friendly neighborhood bargain box and I see, the Gary Paytons and Sean Kemps and Kevin Garnett's and Tim Duncan's and Allen Iverson and before the pandemic and his untimely death, Kobe Bryant in bargain boxes, like these are all like all-time great players that could be had for pretty much $1.
Yeah. And I think when you're looking at it, I think Dom is right now. It really was more of the Billy Ripken one, or it was the error card, the Juan Gonzalez reverse print, the Frank Thomas no name. It was those types of cards that were the card to go ahead and get. Man, you got to go ahead and get this card, brother. Oh man, that's the one you're looking for. Or like he said, the first, the bow with the pads or the U.S. flag, or the Deion Sanders running with what was the one? I think is he Braves to Falcons or Falcons to Brave, card and everything like that. Those are the ones, but there was no all this other crap, man. You didn't have all of it.
Correct.
So
yeah, and that can get really confusing, especially if like you came from like the old school collecting world and now you're in this like modern collecting world where it's like everything looks so cool compared to the way cards used to look. You know what I mean? And then if you fall on what you knew, it's not going to get you by in the modern collecting world, because now like most people are going to want to see things slabbed, if nothing else. And really to get full, benefit out of a lot of cards, you almost have to get them slabbed nowadays. 1981 Flair had more errors than not. Yes, it did.
Sorry, I was having a coughing fit. So I don't know. You know, it's one of those things where I mean, the hobby evolves each time. You know, going back to you know Dave's question about the junk era and all that other kind of stuff. I don't know. Personally, um, I'm more scared when Fanatics has everything
You
because
know the
they
crazy
literally
thing?
at that point in time can do whatever the hell they want to do, and you know, and I think that's and you know that's part of the problem. I think part of the problem now you have is like for me, I wonder does Panini really give a rat's ass of how their product is? Because when you look at some of the QC stuff, you're like, oh my gosh, how,
Yeah.
how could you let these cards get out in the market like this? You're nuts.
I would say they probably do care, but in my opinion, they probably scaled beyond the point of being able to do anything about it. You know what I mean? Like they're doing business on such a scale that unless they rush, I'm sure people are probably worried about losing jobs or doing X, Y, and Z because they have to meet the demand or whatever, especially with the market erupting over the past few years and now being more of like a down market and stuff and it being harder to move supplies and stuff. I'm sure they're trying to get stuff like out into stores even faster just to alleviate, those products sitting on shelves. And, maybe one day soon we'll see the Walmarts and Targets start doing clearance wax again. I don't know if you guys remember any of that, but like, oh my God, I've cleaned up on WWE over the years because back whenever wrestling was too taboo for most people to open, I was just like living the life, ripping packs for
New low price.
$1.99.
I went into one yesterday. Yeah, yesterday, and they had the GPK bookworm
Uh-huh.
in the clearance aisle
Nice.
with the yellow clearance tag. Now they only had it down, I think maybe like $10. I think it was what?
Yeah.
It was like 47 to 37 or 47 to 39, something along those things. So I don't think it was
Better not.
at that point yet. But every now and then you get the little sticker. Well, they're going to have to do something because the problem you have is the companies are really screwing the people that like to go ahead and get waxed because they very rarely put anything good in them anymore.
Yeah. And
You know,
that's what sucks, man. Like, because especially not only are they putting less good cards in the boxes, but they're charging more because of like having to, I guess, pump them up because of like all the reselling of like wax pricing and stuff and people
yep.
fighting over them and XYZ. But I mean, it just sucks like that, the end consumer still has to end up paying more, but they're just basically taking the profit themselves now. One thing I
Well,
will say though about the market though, and like if things do continue to get kind of like worse or whatever, one thing I will say is we've been through some pretty thin times in the hobby over the years. You know what I mean? Like after like the 90s and everything, there were a lot of people that kind of like stepped out. And then really during the pandemic, we saw a lot of people step back in. And even though there were a lot of people that stepped out for, decades, the hobby still survived and there were still a lot of people that did really well in it. I think the big difference really is going to be this, like, and this just goes because I've collected a long time. Like, granted, like I've taken time off here and there over the years myself, but one thing I've noticed is if you'll, and this is something that I've heard from different card show vendors too here locally. Basically, like the newer stuff, the modern stuff, you basically use to kind of flip up into like the cards you want for your PC that are like more long term. You know what I mean? Like, so rather than me collecting a million Okoros, if I collect a million LeBrons and I use the Okoros while he's hot to fund the LeBrons, you know what I mean? Eventually, one day, I'm not going to be stuck with a bunch of Gary Paytons. I'll have a bunch of Steph Currys. You know what I mean?
yeah.
That's kind of, it's a fine line because it's so easy to pick a guy, and even if he's great, like look at Derrick Rose. You know what I mean? Like he's even like kind of had a little bit of a resurgence towards the end of his career, and guarantee you his card prices in the long future are probably not going to be any better than Gary Payton's.
Yeah. No, I agree. I mean, that's what makes it so hard. That's what makes it, that's why it is hard to
Take it easy, Dave.
thanks,
Appreciate you being
Dave.
here, man.
Thanks for hanging out. Much appreciated. Appreciate the support. But I think that's what makes it it hard to really go take a chance on some of these, guys and go all out with them. Like you said, cast a wider net rather than a shallow, but but deep one. I think, because I think you just don't know. I mean, everybody's jumping on Cam Thomas, and there can be a lot of people who are probably sitting there, and they went out there and they started buying up every single one of his cards that they could find for that $2, $3, $4, $2, $3, $4. Boom, boom. Well, that's great. He had his, but what if he's more like Lynn Sanity?
Yeah.
What if he's more like Jeremy Lin? Right? You know what I'm saying? So, you a lot of people are going to spend a lot of money. Now, if you're the guy selling them, you love it.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, man, I got in when the market was good. I got out of my cards. Market's dead. I'm good. That's what he's supposed to do, right? But if you're the guy buying them, crapola. Damn it. And stuff like that happens, and I think, the problem you had during the pandemic, in my opinion, was that it was base went wild.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I bet you if you really look, I'm not saying that, slabs and short prints and numbered cards and die cuts and all this kind of crap. I'm not saying that stuff didn't go up a lot also, but I think your base cards went up way too much.
Definitely.
They went up
Now,
way too much.
Do you think that the people that basically said, hey, you should be buying PSA 10 base prisms or base whatever it is, like, do you think that's why a lot of people were buying base, or do you think it has more to do with the fact that a lot of people might have been more used to like the way it was back in the day where you're buying like, their main rookie card without anything like special?
I honestly think it was a combination of the two. And I say that because back in the day, grading was not really a thing.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't really hear about it. And then even when it started, it really wasn't it wasn't prevalent, stuff like that. Like, you didn't hear. But again, the same type of thing. You think about when grading first started, you didn't have 200 rookie cards of one player. At that point, you even still. So if you take Ken Griffey, you had Upper Deck, then you had a Topps rookie. Those were the two. Then you probably had Score, you might have had Donruss, you might have Leaf.
Flair, maybe.
Yeah. But then, who knows? Then maybe, I don't know, Post Serial had a rookie Ken Griffey card in it, stuff like, that type of stuff. Right. But you didn't have 269 rookie cards.
Correct.
For one player.
And then the crazy thing is, even if you did have multiple brands like the Flair, the Upper Deck, the Topps, the Score, like whatever those are, you didn't have like the Panini that's putting out like 20 different sets a year. You know what I mean? Right. Or the Upper Deck that's putting out 20 different sets a year or whatever. Whereas now, like every single one of those manufacturers, they're not just putting out their top set, but you see now Topps Series 1, Topps Series 2, Topps Update, Topps Chrome, Topps Galactic, Topps whatever, you know what I mean? Like, and it's the same with literally like every other set, like Panini Optic, Panini Donruss, Panini Hoops, Panini whatever, you know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, like you said, you like Topps, and then you figure that, then they throw the Allen and Ginter, and then they throw the Fire. And then, like you said, then they Cosmic it, and they did this, they did that. And all of a sudden, it's one of the reasons why what I'm going to be really, really curious to see is how prices are on some of these rookies that are getting big bucks today. Because the truth of the matter is it's easier today to get a rookie card of, let's say, Trevor Lawrence than it might have been 30 years ago, 40 years ago for a player in that era, because there's so many of them. Because you could go buy, Chronicles and you get the rookie cards in there. You know what I'm saying? Like you know what I'm saying? So it's like, yeah, hey, because of what they've done with the specialty cards, and then they have the base cards. I mean, you think about it. You just said you could buy a Score Mahomes rookie base card for how much? About?
I don't even know what they go for now. I mean, they were dead
Are
cheap.
are they in the hundreds?
Oh, I would imagine.
Yeah.
I'll look one up right now.
But I think,
Are we looking at a raw one, or are we looking at graded?
No, a raw Mahomes Score rookie card.
Let's see. Sold. So the NFL draft parallel's been selling in $20 and $30 for a raw copy.
Right.
Big Man on Campus, $25. Base here's 50. Here's another base one here for 45. Base one for 40.
So that's what I'm saying. So if you could today buy that card, what's it gonna go? If you're buying that card, if you're buying it for $50 today, if you're buying that card for $50 today,
it basically doubles in price in a 9.
Yeah,
I would imagine a 10 is probably going to quadruple.
Yep. But even still, so in 10, 15 years from now, it's $150. That's going to be cheap. It's still going to be cheap. But then you can say, hey, I own a Patrick Mahomes rookie card.
Yeah.
Different than if, for certain iconic cards, and that's going to be in really good condition. But you want to buy a Walter Payton rookie card for $150 and everything, you're getting some probably rounded corners, some edge wear, right? Because you're not going to get you're not going to pay $150 for a raw Walter Payton card that can grade out as a 9 or a 10.
You want to know what I think the floor for Mahomes is going to be right now? Keep in mind, he's 27 years old. He's still super young in quarterback years. Floor, Eli Manning, Ben Roethlisberger, because he's already done as much in his career as both of those two guys have. And I'm a huge Big Ben guy, so that is like amazing, praise for the young guy. But his floor right now is right where those guys were, because he's already basically done what those guys have done.
He's done the same thing Peyton Manning's done.
Correct. And he has an extra game per season to put up stats.
Yeah. Stuff like that. So I mean, it's going to be that's the only thing that gets me is, how are these values going to hold up? How are a lot of these cards going to be able to hold their value when there are so much available out there? When there's so much sitting there, from that standpoint, when there's so much, there's so much, I don't want to call it likability, but there's so much differences, right? Where, you can pick and choose. I want a Patrick Mahomes rookie card. You can go out and you can get one, and it's not going to break your bank.
I agree, Dom. I basically mean, if Mahomes were to retire and not suit up again, he basically is capped off like at like Ben and like Eli's level. That's why, like I said earlier in the stream, like I think he's like the only person like playing right now that has like a realistic shot at catching Brady,
Yep.
because when Brady was 27 years old, like Mahomes has already drastically outperformed him.
And when you look at other quarterbacks, like I said, when we mentioned it earlier, when you look at Burrow, you look at Herbert, if you look at those guys, if you look at Trevor Lawrence, you look at some of the younger quarterbacks who have potential. Obviously, they've done nothing yet, but they have potential.
Mm-hmm.
A lot for them is going to be what are they going to want their wallet to look like? And if they say, hey, I need to reset the quarterback market, that's awesome. But then expect to lose a lot of really good players. You know what I'm saying? If you're Joe Burrow and you're like, hey, nope, sorry, man. If the going rate is 50 million and I've done what I've done and I deserve 50 million, he better go to his teammate Jamar Chase and go, hey, it was nice having you while we could, but I'm sorry that you're not going to be here, because that's what's going to have to happen.
Yeah.
It's going to have to happen because they can't pay him.
Well, I mean, like speaking of that, I mean, that's pretty much what happened in Kansas City this past year with like them having to basically part ways with Tyreek Hill. And a lot of people thought that loss plus like a lot of these other losses they had, they wouldn't be competitive. And one of the quotes that I think it was even Mahomes, it might have been Kelsey that said this, but in the year that we were supposed to be rebuilding, we're the champions.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And like when you have a guy like Mahomes, like I even going into it, like I everybody that asked me who I thought was going to win, I basically said the Chiefs just because of Mahomes. Like I was like, the Eagles are the better team.
Yep.
Like, on paper, like they're the better team, but they don't have Patrick Mahomes. That's literally the only reason I was picking Chiefs. And like the Chiefs had to like literally fight back to even be in that game. But again, they have Patrick Mahomes. Like how can you go against Mahomes? That's like going against Tom Brady. It's not a very good bet.
And I tell you, the only other time I heard a coach say that was Gino Auriemma, and when his team was doing well, and he had Diana Taurasi, and he was like, "What makes you think that you're gonna go ahead and win?" He said, "We have Diana, and they don't."
Yeah.
Yeah, Rodgers is a great example. Give me the money. Give me the money. Give me the money. Hey, bye, Devontae. Hey, have fun in Vegas.
Yeah.
I'd love to go ahead and have you, but
I don't think he's going to be having fun now. The car's.
I got to get my 60 million.
Well, I guess it depends on who they bring in to be the next quarterback.
I don't know why you would let Derek Carr go. What has he not done? I mean, or what has he failed so much?
If we didn't have Pickett, I would be like clamoring for Derek Carr.
Oh yeah. Heck yeah. Yeah, Rodgers is the prime example, But yeah, I mean, exactly. I mean, like that's what I'm saying. I'm like, what did he do? There was somebody else and I'm telling you right now, I am happy as all hell that he went ahead and said that he friggin' said to the Raiders, "Screw you! I ain't moving my trade date. I'm not moving my bonus date, and I'm not waiving my no trade clause. So do what you got to do."
Yeah.
And he basically gave not Al, he gave whatever the Davis is, whatever Stephen Davis or whatever his name is. He basically gave him, the double single finger salute as he walked out the door. Oh wait, so you're telling me to go home during the season, and then you want me to help you? Yeah, nah, ain't happening. Not on my worst day. But it's going to be interesting. It's going to be it's crazy, and I don't know. The sports is just it's amazing. I said earlier, you just never know with these guys. You never know what's going to happen with them. It's too easy for them to go ahead and be high on one day and then look up Brock Purdy.
Yep. Great example.
Guys, cards. I mean, you think about that game right there, the difference of him getting hurt versus the difference of him leading his team to victory, what that did for the price of his cards.
Yeah.
That in no way deserved to be where they were. Especially when friggin' Panini did him bad by cutting off his friggin' one leg. He couldn't even get a full body card.
Yeah, that's crazy. Poor guy.
Ah, well.
You think that he's going to be the guy there next year? Do you think they're going to go back to Lance?
I don't know if he can with his arm. Because he blew it, he had to get, I believe, unless I read it wrong, I believe he was getting Tommy John surgery.
Who's that, Lance?
No, Purdy.
Purdy?
You know,
I mean, I think Lance is still going to be a heck of a player. I think they got some talent in him.
his injury, I don't think is one that should take off too much of what he was able to do because of his age. If he was a little older, you can go, well, you're going to lose some mobility, so on and so forth. But at 23, 24 years old, he should. Really, Adam, only 6 months? Wow, I thought it would be longer with his injury. Heck, anything's possible now. Anything is possible. I don't know. I guess you bring them both in, you let them fight it out. But it's another one of those things from a standpoint of, what does it do for from your franchise's perspective of Purdy? You have 3 more years before you have to go ahead and pay him. Lance, you have 2 years. In 2 years, you have to decide whether or not you want to, accept the 5th-year option and then potentially, sign him. It's like the Bears. The Bears have the same type of choice. People go, "Oh, Bears don't have any kind of choice." No, the Bears do have a choice. They have to think if there's a what do you call it? If there is a quarterback that they think long term is either equal to Justin Fields or even better, why wouldn't you take him and reset the clock on your quarterback's salary?
Yeah, I mean, at the very least, it's an extra 2 years.
It's a big difference. You bring him in, draft a rookie in now, you have 4 more years. You only he's gonna go Fields is going into year 3. So you pretty much only have 2 years before you have to decide what you want to do. Yep. Again, it's not popular thinking, and it's not, normal thinking about it, but it is something that is wow, hey, we might be able to get a good haul for this guy. Will you get a massive haul? Probably not, because he's shown enough flashes to where I think you could get a decent haul for him.
Yeah, I think so too.
And you reset your quarterback salary.
Now, the only thing I would say that they wouldn't do it for is if they feel like they're like within like a window to compete, like by adding like a piece here or there, you know what I mean? And they might miss the window if they reset the like timer. Now, if they don't think that they're within that window already, then it makes sense to just kind of blow it up and start over.
Yeah. I don't know. It's interesting stuff, man. It's all I don't know. It's kind of crazy when you look at it, the NFL season, but I don't care. I mean, basketball is going to be interesting to see what happens as we go down the end there. With Luka and Kyrie, can they blend and can they work together and stuff? And from that standpoint, and then hey, you got pitchers and you got catchers. Spring training is starting.
Yep.
You got all these new rules in baseball that are supposed to speed up the game. We'll see how that happens. Yeah. That's another one, when you look at it from a standpoint, when, we've talked about a couple of times, like prospecting and all that kind of stuff of,
Mhm.
who do you think, who do you not think, so on and so forth. But like, here's a great example. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of it. There's going to be a lot of people who are getting this and are ripping it, and if you truly want to, recoup any of your investment, you rip it. And depending on what time you rip it, if you rip it in the morning or the early afternoon, you're snapping photos and you're getting them
Mhm.
son of a guns up the same day. If you
Yep.
rip it at midnight, then you figure out a way to get them up the next day. Because if you look, there's a bunch of 2023 selling already,
Yep. Absolutely.
and you're going
And
to
you'll get
sell those.
premiums. Like if you look at the like hoops, even like when that comes out, like LaMelo Ball base hoops used to go for like $30+. You know
Oh,
what I mean?
yeah.
And it's like now, like, are you even getting $30 on a 10?
Yeah.
So it's like there's such a premium when a set first drops that you're not going to get again on it unless you get something short printed and you get a really good grade and hope that it doesn't you know become less popular of a set.
Well, that's where you have to take advantage of the base. That's where you sell your base rookies and all that kind of stuff, right? That's where
Yep.
you put Adelaide Rushman, out there. That's where you put, if you get Gunnar Henderson, you throw him out there. When you look at Riley Green, when you look at those guys. Now, if you are if you're a third PC of yours, obviously you don't. But if you're not, you go ahead. If you can get if you get a couple of them out of a blast or everything, yeah, you won't make the money back. But if you can sell Adelaide for $5, you can sell Gunner for $5 and a couple other, guys that are, I don't know, one of those gold cards of a not great name player for $5. Well, all of a sudden you got $15. You paid 25 for it. Well, hey, you had a nice $10 rip and had some fun, and you got some PC cards.
Yeah.
You know, and the rest, you do what you want to do. You build a set, or you just throw them out there because you never know. There's somebody out there who loves player blah, and they're going to buy that player. They want to make sure they don't want to open up the boxes, and they see it for $1.50 free shipping. They go, "Thank you very much. I will take that card."
Mm-hmm.
So.
And I think that that's something that Bo proved, just in coming on here a couple weeks ago. Whenever he was talking about the number of cards he has, it's just $1.25 free ship,
Yep.
and like some of them are just like 1980s commons, but there's set builders that are trying to complete like every last player, or there might be a team collector that is looking for certain players for their PC or whatnot. So there's always a market for something out there. Like for example, the other day I was going through some of my PC stuff and just getting rid of it, and I had like a little it wasn't like a card, but it was like the size of like maybe a postcard of like it was an autograph I had gotten from a Comic-Con. I went and Jason David Frank, the Green Ranger, who just like passed away, his daughter was there with him at a Comic-Con, so she was signing autographs too. Now, I'm a big Jason David Frank fan, so I didn't want to get rid of my Jason David Frank autograph, but I don't really care about his daughter. So I listed the other day her autograph for $15, and it like literally sold like within like maybe a half hour of having it on eBay. And there was a market for it. And it was like
Yep.
I didn't really find valuable. It was like I got it because it was like, oh, cool, another free autograph with his autograph. Cool, I'll go ahead and do that. And
Yeah.
it's been literally sitting here for the better part of like 3 years, and somebody just paid me $15 for it.
Yep.
And it's like she's not even like famous. It's just like his daughter.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so Bo, while I just happened to look because I had his store up because he's supposed to be listing some Bo Jackson cards that I want. He showed a preview of them.
Nice.
But I just looked, and I went to solds today already. He's sold close to 25 2023 top Series 1 cards.
Wow.
Ranging from $2 all the way up to like $30.
Yep. And today's the day that set dropped. So
Yep.
like the fact that it's already selling like that, it just
Yeah.
shows that there's a market for it and people are.
And not, I mean, and we're talking, you know, well, he just sold another one.
And there's
A Bobby
probably
Witt.
not as many people with it listed yet, being that it is
Yeah.
day one.
Yep. Bobby Witt, Matthew Liberatore, Rushman.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and some of them are, colored, or some of them are, tops 88. But
Yeah.
Josh Jung,
Mm-hmm.
tops 88, retro 88. I mean, Ricky Henderson. Again, not saying that these are, holy cow, these are, crappy nobody cards or anything. But I'm just saying, I mean, you're talking about, nothing. Don Mattingly. You're not talking about, and these are all $2, $5, $3.50, $3.50,
Yeah.
$2.50, $3.50, and so it's not like it's all big, massive, massive dollar cards.
Yep. And if you're basically getting like the Don Mattingly type players, like those are basically what I would consider like probably commons, right? Like in a modern day product, if you're pulling a Mattingly, it's probably something that would go in like a 10-cent box, I would imagine.
Yeah, probably.
And since it's a brand new set, you just said they're making like $2.53 on them.
Yeah. And there's somebody who goes, my gosh, I'm a Don Mattingly collector.
Mm-hmm.
That's really all I want. I don't want to pay $25 for a blaster and maybe pull one.
Yeah,
I'll just take
gladly
that
pay
right
$2.
there for $3. Thank you very much. Plus tax.
Yep.
Thank you very much. Have a nice day. And
Yep.
move on.
And I would do the same thing with LeBron or whoever else I'm PCing at the time,
Yeah.
just to get that one player or whoever, rather than like, for example, like Marty, whenever Steelers drafted Pickett, man, he bought so many boxes trying to pull a Pickett auto. And it's like, dude, you could have had like 20 Pickett autos in the time it took you to actually pull one. You know what I mean? Like, if you just go out and buy that single that you want or that specific player that you want, as opposed to like the entire box, granted, he did pretty well on a lot of them boxes, but some of them boxes he got skunked on and like literally was buying it just because he wanted the one card that probably even cost less than the entire box.
Yeah.
So something to keep in mind.
Yep. Most definitely.
No guarantees.
Well, you know what? We've been going for 2 hours and 10 minutes again. There's no freaking way these shows keep going this freaking long when it feels like we are on for like 8.5 minutes.
And Mattingly was the man.
Yeah. Yep. But we get a ton of interaction by the chat. You guys really don't understand how much we appreciate you. When Anthony and I were together, a couple weekends ago, and we were sitting, we had dinner, and then we were talking afterwards and everything. It was like, man, we expected, for us to go ahead and have a good time just talking back and forth to each other and stuff like that. But the responses that we've had from the chat and the interactions that you guys have given has just been phenomenal. I mean, it really has made the show awesome. So much better than I think we thought it was going to be and stuff like that. So we thank each and every one of you for for supporting us and coming out and hanging out with with a couple of guys who just like to
Hey, thanks, man. And shout out to Blaze. I'll actually be on his channel on March 5th.
Oh, nice.
Sunday evening.
So now he's more
he does a lot
of wrestling content,
wrestling,
right?
Yeah. And he'll do like play alongs to like his eFed that he created.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then he also does like card stuff every now and again too. So every once in a while he'll do like a grading submission or like he'll rip packs. Like he does like the NFL like Sunday streams, like where he does Red Zone, where like whoever's playing, he'll just go and like commentate.
Oh, really? Very cool.
Like commentating over like his like wrestling stuff, and he's actually a ring announcer for one of the local wrestling feds here in Pittsburgh too.
Very cool. Very cool.
He's got one of them good voices for announcing things.
Well, thank you, Blaze. Thank you, Dominic. Thank you, Kenny. Again, you guys go ahead and make the show. So we appreciate each and every one of you. Before we close, Anthony, what do we got going on your channel? I know it's going to be give the people here what's
Sure.
happening, man.
So yeah, we'll be back on my channel next week, guys. Same bat time, same bat channel. But until then, there's going to be a lot of brand new products coming to the channel. Opened up several hobby boxes of Donruss, several of the new tops. Series 1 that just dropped. Also some hoops and just some other sets. There was a Bowman, I believe platinum, or it might have been Sterling, that Marty got like an amazing hit out of. That might have been like the hit of the day. But yeah, so there's going to be a lot of big hits coming to the channel over the next week. I still got like a few Disney vlogs that are coming out too on the channel. I'm going to try to spread them out a little bit more than I have been lately. But just all in all, bunch of different activity coming to the not only the YouTube channel but also eBay. So if any of you guys are interested in anything, make sure you check out our eBay stores too, because Michael and I are always listing new stuff every week as well.
And it's in the description.
Yep.
Our eBay stores are in the description. And then the other thing you should be seeing here at some point in time will be, unless I missed it, Anthony, part 1 of the box battle. That should be coming out soon on your channel, right?
Yeah, it should be. It's close in my list of like stuff that's being worked through currently.
Very cool.
But we'll have to sync it up and try to do maybe the same day if we can, or a day apart, or whatever works. That way I can drive people to you, and vice versa.
Thank you, Dommy. Yeah, Oh, do you have any 2022 Topps Holiday base cards? Kenny, I'm still opening up some, so I might be able to help you out there, my friend.
Yeah,
depending on what you're looking for. If you're on IG, if you want to send me a message, just instant message me on IG what you might be looking for. I might be able to see what I got. Yeah, and for me, so I got some stuff going on, but I posted some stuff on IG. I know I did it, probably a little further in advance than I should have, but I'm gonna be doing, the rip and chips Thursday nights. I'm gonna start going live again. I'll still be live twice a week, and I will, I finished up the inventory. I got my inventory now. I'm doing stuff a little different. One of the things that I'm doing different is a lot of people, they put their list out of what they have, but I have to see if I can get it to work. I think I can. I don't know if because the sheet is going to be locked when I post it. But what I'm trying to do is put live links to what the product is to Cardboard Connection. This way, if you're curious, hey, if I were to get, 2020 Prism basketball, what could I possibly find in there? Well, if you click on the link, it'll take you over to Cardboard Connection, and then you can actually look and see what's available. Kenny, just, huddlecardcollection@gmail.com, buddy. Go ahead and send it over there, from that standpoint. So that's what I have coming up. Again, appreciate every single person, who has stopped in today. It is much appreciated. And, again, come on back next week. Probably going to be Anthony and a special guest. I may not be able to be on next week. I do not know why. I mean, I could get on if I want to get in trouble. I just don't know if I want to get in trouble.
Don't worry about getting in trouble. I'm sure I can find somebody that would be willing to.
Oh, I'm sure you most definitely can. But with that, hey, again, thanks everybody. Don't forget, come back if you're catching the end right now and check out some of the beginning of the show. If you could, once it's posted, come on back, make a comment, get us in the algorithm. More people might get a notification that we're going and doing this show. And again, we appreciate everything you guys do. Thank you so much. We will see you next week.
See you guys.